And welcome to the Torah Outreach Program, Erev Shabbos Burst of Inspiration. Today's Burst of Inspiration is sponsored by Mr. Josh Kahn as a schus, a merit for the entire Jewish people, all of Klal Yisrael, that we should have a Refuah, Shelayma, complete recovery, b'gufah, b'nefesh, body and soul. There's a very popular custom out there. On the holiday of Shavuos, we decorate our homes and our synagogues with greenery, with flowers, and with all types of things that grow from the ground. Why? Because we're told that Mount Sinai blossomed when the Torah was given. Although there's no specific place anywhere in the Torah that says that it did. But it's taken for granted that everybody does it. Brought back a few thousand years and we were still doing this. It doesn't say anywhere specific. The closest we get is we're warned not to allow our animals, our cattle and our sheep to graze in the mountain. And graze what? It's a barren wasteland. It's a desert. What are they grazing? Exactly. When the Torah was given, even though it was barren wasteland, things grew. But still, such a popular custom, and we're very into source. Where does it say that? My father-in-law, may rest in peace, used to say, show me in black and white. And couldn't find it. Couldn't find it. It brought down that we did it, and here's why, but where does it say that we did it? Oh, okay, because the animals grazed on the side of the mountain. But it's taken like of course this is what happened. Which brings us to this week's Torah reading. There is a challenge this week. Korach and his people challenge Moshe's authority. They say, you only appointed Aaron to be the Kohen Gadol, the high priest of the Jewish people, because he's your brother, and that's nepotism. And Moshe made a test, and many people who wanted to challenge his authority, or Hashem's authority, were killed. But even after all that happened, all those people died for no good reason, because they wanted to challenge Moshe's authority. And they died in these horrible, miraculous, but horrible ways. The Jewish people were still challenging it. So Hashem told Moshe, take a staff, a walking stick, from the heads of each tribe, and then take one from Aaron. Write the names on the walking stick, and put the walking stick into the Kodesh Kodashim, into the Holy of Holies, in front of the Aron HaKodesh, the ark that contains the Torah. And he did so. And the next day he took it out. And all the sticks were the same thing they were when they were put in, all sticks, walking staffs, except for one. Aaron's was covered in almonds, buds, the flowers. In other words, usually when an almond tree grows, an almond tree grows fruit. First it makes the flowers, and from the flowers comes the buds of the fruit, and then the fruit. But it had all three at the same time. And after that, everybody said, you're right, we're sorry. We don't want to make that mistake again. What? We had all these horrible, miraculous but horrible punishments and deaths that happened to hundreds of people because they were challenging Aaron's authority, Moshe's appointment of Aaron to be the high priest. And this test did it because his budded and the others did. The other things were just as miraculous. Why did this do it? Why did this do it? I heard a few weeks ago, Rav Nissen Kaplan, who was a head of a yeshiva in Israel, and he said, we're looking at it backwards. They weren't shocked that Aaron's stick budded and blossomed They were shocked that theirs didn't. Why? For the same reason that we put flowers out on Shavuos. And for the same reason that the Torah doesn't make a big deal out of the fact that that Mount Sinai blossomed. Because it's a given. Where there's Torah, things blossom. And the fact that the other staffs didn't blossom was a greater sign to them than anything else. Because you are in the Kodesh Kodashim, the Holy of Holies. What's there? The Torah, the Luchos, the tablets, the Aron HaKodesh, what they like to call the Ark of the Covenant. Things blossom when there's Torah. I heard a story, maybe last year, from, I reacquainted with an old friend from Boston. And he told me that he was davening, he went to Connecticut for a Shabbos. And he walked into the shul, and it was this gorgeous, old-fashioned type shul with the pews and the beautiful, huge Aron Kodesh and stained glass windows, gorgeous, gorgeous building, huge. Could fit a couple hundred people. They had 7. They had 7 people there for Shabbos. And he looked very confused. And after davening was over, they didn't have a minyan, but after davening was over, somebody walked over to him and said, I see you look a little perturbed. And I went, why? Wondering, like, what's with the big shul and there's nobody here? And he told him that 20-some odd years before, the famous Boston Rebbe, Rabbi Yitzroel Bodkins of Boston, was touring different communities and different synagogues and trying to strengthen them. And he spoke here, and he said, I see you have a day school that goes till 7th grade, 8th grade. And I see you have a beautiful shul. You need to put in more Torah. There needs to be a high school here. There needs to be a post-high school here. There needs to be a kollel here for married people who are still learning. And if you do, this community will continue to flourish. But if you don't, when people graduate, they'll go on to other places, they'll move out, and they'll get comfortable where they are, and they won't want to come back. And the man told them, because of politics and lack of money and whatever it was, that's exactly what happened. We had a huge community. And as the kids got older, they moved away. I come from such a community. We had a beautiful day school. We had some of the greatest, I think, rabbis and educators that you can find today. I myself am a recipient of that. But what's left of that community? Nothing. Nothing. The shul was sold. The community is gone. Beautiful building. Beautiful building. What was it lacking? They had a day school. It went till 6th grade, 7th grade, maybe 8th grade. And there was nothing else. The rabbis that had come through over the years tried to put some Torah in, teaching as much as they could, but people were not interested in learning. They were busy. And eventually, what was left of that community disappeared. While other surrounding communities grew and blossomed. Why? There was Torah. It's obvious. You can't deny it. I live in a community right now. When I moved here over 30 years ago, it was a very small community. I knew everybody here. And then we opened up a kollel. And the place exploded. The place exploded. There is things going on. There's Torah being learned. There's more and more people who want to move in, but there's no room left. And it's expanding. When did that start? Started to build. We brought the yeshiva here and moved out of the actual city, but still, out of the actual community, but still close. And it grew from there. And then we put in a kollel and blossomed. Can't deny the facts. It's a simple fact. So simple, the Torah doesn't make a big deal out of it, that where there's Torah, things blossom. So simple that all the other miracles that happened to prove Aaron was the Kohen Gadol didn't make an effect on these people's minds. But the fact that their sticks didn't blossom and Aaron's did, that made the effect. Because where there's Torah, we blossom and we grow. Shabbos.